Kawhi Leonard, known as one of the best players in the NBA. He's an elite two-way wing who has the ability to defend many positions and is also an elite scorer and can also do many other things. He was part of the San Antonio Spurs, Toronto Raptors, and is now part of the Los Angeles Clippers. However, today I wanted to look back on the trade that sent him from San Antonio to Toronto and what it meant. With that being said, let's get started with the video. However, before we start, sorry but if I jumble my words right there, make sure you subscribe and like the video. Subscribing, you can obviously not miss any of my new videos. I'm going to plan on doing videos like this where we look back at old trades. And also like the video so I can reach out to more people. Alright, now with all that being said, let's get into the video. On July 18th, 2018, Kawhi Leonard requested a trade request from the San Antonio Spurs really went into effect as he was traded to the Toronto Raptors in exchange for DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl in 2019 first round pick. Along with Kawhi Leonard, it was role player Danny Green. This trade was an absolute disaster for San Antonio. San Antonio the following season would finish 48-34 as a 7th seed and would get eliminated by my Denver Nuggets. After that, Toronto would go on to win 58 games and would win the championship that year. So essentially, the Spurs traded a championship for mediocrity. Yeah, that's what they did, basically. Anyways, with all that being said, let's look back on why this trade went down. We gotta rewind to Game 1 of the 2017 Western Conference Finals, as Kawhi Leonard attempted a shot that bricked by the sideline. Zaza Pachulia famously injured him in what many people called a very dirty play by Zaza Pachulia. Besides that, Kawhi Leonard's ankle injury that he suffered in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals in 2017 would cause him to sit the entire series, and the Warriors would sweep through the Spurs with ease. With all that being said, the following season would not be a very great one, as in the 17-18 season, Kawhi Leonard would only play 9 games for the Spurs, and the Spurs would finish as a 7th seed and would lose to the Warriors in the first round. During that season too, Kawhi Leonard's relationship with the Spurs really started to deteriorate. For one thing, the Spurs had not been able to win a championship with him as the number one option. And he started questioning Coach Popovich's leadership, which is not something you really do in San Antonio, since he is one of the biggest faces of San Antonio and the Spurs organization. And people, with all this drama stirring up in the locker room, Kawhi Leonard eventually requested a trade in 2018, and on July 18th, he got it. Now let's look at some of the better options. What did the Spurs go and get for Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green? Well, here's what they got back in return. DeMar DeRozan was the big piece that they got back. DeMar DeRozan, when he was traded, came off a season where he averaged 23 points and 46% shooting from the field. He was a consistent all-star. However, he was not the most impactful player and was also known to choke in the playoffs. Now, DeMar DeRozan is really just a borderline all-star, and DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard, they're the skill between them is pretty big. And I'm not trying to say this to hate on DeMar DeRozan. I don't hate him, and I don't think he's a bad player. It's just now he's at best a borderline all-star player, and he's aging too. DeMar DeRozan's game really just consists of finishing at the rim and making mid-range shots. Because of that, he's really just a pure scorer who's not really good at anything else. And because of his lack of a three-point shot, he's not as valuable, and is really only valuable because he's good at what he does. Anyways, moving on from DeMar DeRozan, we got Jakob Poeltl, who's a pretty good backup center and has been having a good season for the Spurs this year. That was not him and DeMar DeRozan. I don't know, it's still not adding up. Now let's look at the 2019 first-round pick. Maybe it's a steal, who knows. However, with that first-round pick, they took Luka Samanic, who was sent down to the G League and has been looking alright. He averaged 15 points per game in the G League, but doesn't look like he'll turn into anything great. So right now, the Spurs are mediocre. And as of now, they are going to be playing in Orlando from July 31st. However, it does not look like they will be making the playoffs. Sorry if I use the word however a lot, but besides that, the Spurs have just been a mediocre team overall. And what makes this even worse is that there were better offers on the table. Now, what were those offers that could have been made? Well, when Kawhi Leonard requested the trade, his preferred destination was the Los Angeles Lakers. Besides it being a big market team, the Los Angeles Lakers were also Kawhi Leonard's hometown team, as even though he wasn't a Laker fan, his family was from Los Angeles, and he grew up in Los Angeles. But besides that, the Lakers could have offered guys like Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and draft picks, which would become very valuable in the future. Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, as we know, have been having very good seasons for the Pelicans so far. Brandon Ingram has turned into an elite scorer and is also known for his good defense too, with his length. Lonzo Ball, even as much of a meme as he is now, he improved his... My god, that is so weird. Anyways, I don't know if you guys saw, but I kind of burped a little bit. Whatever. Besides that, this is what I was saying. Lonzo Ball. He improved his three-point shot and is known as a great passer and defender. Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, as we all know, are really just some great young stars. And, I mean, if you ask me, now Brandon Ingram's already better than DeMar DeRozan. Not only that, but the first-round picks also could have turned into something valuable. As in the 2019 draft, the Lakers got the 4th overall pick. And if the Spurs got that 2019 first-round pick, it could have been something pretty good. And they could have gotten somebody like DeAndre Hunter or, I don't know, maybe you know what I'm saying here, young prospects and all. Not only that, but Los Angeles, maybe what if they didn't have anything that San Antonio liked? Well, let's look at other teams. Boston, as we all know, came off of a great playoff run where young stars such as Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown really showed their potential. Boston could have offered guys like Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum or Terry Rozier and draft picks to get Kawhi Leonard. Now, Boston, I wouldn't say had as good of assets compared to maybe like Los Angeles, since it looked like Boston really wanted to develop these guys. And I mean, can you really blame them? They had great seasons. But if San Antonio took a deal from Boston, they could have had guys like Jaylen Brown, who's turned into an elite two-way wing, and Terry Rozier, who's a pretty good role player to have. Plus first-round picks, like the one they got from Memphis, which they could have used to select a young prospect. And San Antonio is known to be able to develop young prospects. Miami was also a rumored destination, as even though compared to Boston and Los Angeles, they had guys like Bam Adebayo, Justice Winslow, Goran Dragic, and first-round picks. Bam Adebayo, as we all know, he was an all-star this year as well. He's turned into a versatile center who can defend the perimeter and the paint, and is also a decent scorer and an underrated passer for a center. With all that being said, those were some other offers. Heck, even Toronto could have also had to give up young guys, and San Antonio could have taken a better deal from Toronto. Toronto had guys like Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Norman Powell, and other guys who all had upside. But this deal that San Antonio took never got them any of those guys. Pascal Siakam, as we all know, is an all-star this year. Fred VanVleet has been very good. OG Anunoby has been really good. The point is, San Antonio could have gotten some young talent. But then you might be thinking, well, why didn't they take this deal, like a deal with like young talent and all? Well, here's the thing. Greg Popovich is essentially a coach GM. This trade really just says a lot about coaches being GMs. My God, I cannot speak. Anyways, this says a lot about coaches being general managers, as I said before. Thing is, this is how coaches keep their job. They win, or they get a good, make a good culture and all in the team and all. You know what I mean? Yeah, the coaches really gotta win though. That's how they mainly keep their job and gotta show that the team has a future or really is in a good place. But the thing is, Greg Popovich, he had that win now mindset, and DeMar DeRozan, at this time, he was better than most people, than he was before, than he is now, really, as he was more known as a consistent all-star rather than a borderline all-star, even though he was known to fold in the playoffs and all. And that's really just not a great thing. I mean, the thing is, coaches, they typically just care about winning at the present moment, while GMs, they can think about like the present moment and what's next for the future. And because of that, Greg Popovich really just screwed this up. And this is meant to be no disrespect to the San Antonio Spurs as an organization or Greg Popovich. I mean, the Spurs are just so, respectful. It's easy to respect that organization. I mean, 5 championships in like 20 years, like 14, like 15 years. Yeah, I don't know why. I was like screwing up my math, but whatever. You guys see the point. Not only that, but I mean, Greg Popovich is arguably one of the best coaches of all time. But the thing is, this trade will haunt San Antonio for a long time. People, when they look back on this trade, will see that the Spurs traded a championship just to be mediocre. And now the Spurs are in a very desperate, really weird situation. And they don't show a ton of signs of rebuilding. And with all that being said, that's really the Kawhi Leonard trade. And make sure you like and subscribe so that you don't miss any content, and I can reach this video out to more people, since this video will do better in YouTube's algorithm if you like it. With all that being said, I'm out, you guys.